making sure that you attend seminars that will enrich relationships. And so, with my wife, and I know many of you do, we intentionally, every single year, we attend a couple's weekend. We don't think about the money, even though the money can be a problem. But that money is far cheaper than what you give to the lawyers. Is that right? You benefit. So, regardless of whatever it is, we all need places to put our head, and sometimes we build houses in our home countries and so on. Good. But make sure that the money goes into your marriage first before it goes even into building a house. Because the person close to you, next to you, is the source of your happiness. You have to invest in it. Now, if you're looking for happiness elsewhere, it is almost foolishness to say that you're going to get married. Your happiness is the one next to you. It's just like a plant that you have so much love, but you don't water it. What happens? It can rise up, dies. But if you're taking the time and remembering to put water in it, buying, soil fertilizers to enrich the color and so on, you rejoice when you see it grow. That is your spouse.
Two-way traffic.
Two-way traffic. Okay. I know that.
Head of the family.
The head is the servant. You also a servant. No servant. But it pays so much to spend money on your relationship. I would say that should be the first thing. There was a time we attended a pastor's seminar. It was a whole weekend. And we had this vice president from the General Conference speak towards the ministries. And his preaching came to the point, he says, if your spouse is not happy, and you are not happy in the house, even when you go out to work, you are not happy. You don't function well. So it pays to spend so much and give attention to your relationship. Your life will change, I can assure you. Your life will change if you spend so much on your relationship. It has to be intentional. And so every year we have been attending couples retreat. Sometimes we go twice. And then we go every quarter, we go to the dinner. That is where we meet with other couples. Leave the children at home. Let the children know that there are times when mom and dad goes away only by themselves. Get somebody to look after them. Let them know right from the beginning that there are times when mom is so special to dad. And when dad is also so special to mom. And it is true. But sometimes, we make the children as if they are more important than the spouse. It's wrong, though. But it doesn't mean neglecting children. Children are very important. But remember, just like in the aeroplane, when you're on the plane, they said, put on the what? When there is an emergency, put on the oxygen mask first before you look after who? Anybody else, even your child. And the same applies with your spouse. Your spouse is you, so look after her first, or him first, before you attend to anybody else, even your children. What they have found out is that the best gift you can give to your children is when you love each other. Research, and again, even secular people have found this out. A lot of children who misbehave in school, it comes down to sometimes problems in the house. They're destabilized. I'm saying things that has been researched, but also I have dealt with as a pastor. There was a couple who were struggling and they were separated, and one doesn't want the other to see the children. And even though they had to deal with, I think there was a court issue, so the man should see the children at a certain time. She was making everything difficult for the times that he would see them. The children started having problems in the school. They called them, the social services wanted to see them. I want to speak with them. I said, the best thing you can do for these children is not to be insulting each other. Because they found out that the children, when you are quarreling, they get confused. Because one half of you is a mother, and then one half is a child, is the father. And so when you are battling the mother, they may not be looking, but they feel like they are being, how do you call it? Looked down upon or treated badly. And if you do the same to the father, they feel the same. They feel useless. That's the word. They feel useless. But when you are valuing your spouse, you feel like, I can walk tall. The world can fall around me. My parents are looking good. It's the best gift you can give to your children. It's not the material things you give them. When children experience and see love displayed in the home, it's a source of confidence for them. Confidence. And I'd like us to, have we got a clicker?
Yeah. Yeah. Use the mouse.
Oh, the mouse.
Yeah. Yeah, you can do that. No, on the left.
Okay. The marriage covenant. I've done a similar presentation in Canada, and this was Ghanaians who invited me there to do. So some of the photos are Ghanaian, some of them are Ugandan. Amen. The marriage covenant. Marriage is a covenant. Sorry, do you want attention for the children? Is anybody overseeing the children?
So worried because I can hear them running outside there.
Especially the weather getting darker as well.
Yeah. Mothers and fathers, children.
Now the Bible tells us very clearly, what God has joined together, let no man put asunder. What God has put together, let no man put asunder. Let no man, let no woman, let no child, let no mother-in-law or father-in-law put asunder. Because it is God who did what? Joined together. This is words coming from the mouth of God. Always look at where the words are coming from. Let no man put asunder. The scripture affirms marriage is instituted by God in the Garden of Eden. And God said this right from the beginning. Therefore shall a man leave father and mother and join to the wife. The wife was supposed to leave as well. But the two are leaving to become one flesh. One flesh. It's a different sermon on that one. But therefore a man leave his father and mother and cleave to his wife, and the two become one flesh. They cleave. There are things in relationship that helps cleaving when you pay attention to the relationship. Recently, we went to Serbia. This is the Trans-European Division Pastors Conference. Somebody I studied with, he's done a doctorate now in families. Gabo. He made a presentation and he said, no more games. when you're not married, you're looking to see if you can find the right partner. But he made a significant point. The moment you get married, don't look anywhere anymore, male and female. Don't let anybody appeal to you in your mind, in action, or any way. The door is closed. If you don't close that door in your mind that you have found a partner, the devil can come in. Marriage covenant, the two becoming one, to love and to hold. This is Ugandan picture. Now, when you see something like this, that people spend so much money to celebrate marriage. It looks like a king, isn't it?
He is a king.
He's a king. Well, there you go. And that is a queen. It looks beautiful, isn't it? It looks beautiful. Marriage truly is meant to last for a lifetime. Marriage is meant to last for a lifetime. One of the articles I read in the Mirror, it says that a lot of money is spent, a lot of young people who enter into marriages, they think about the ceremony. Yeah. And they pump so much money, some even borrow a lot of money to do the celebration. But after that, they realize that they have not invested into knowing how to get on. And that is where the burdens begin to come. What we emphasize is that marriages would need, before anybody marries, I always tell people who like to come for counseling, they need at least 6 months. Don't set the date before you see the pastor to say, we want to marry, so counsel us 3 days, something. No. So, very important. For marriage to last a lifetime, it will require nurturing. I think I shared some of them already. Nurturing. There is so much to say about that. It requires good communication. Without good communication, the relationship is bound to die. And that is where you spend a lot of time nurturing your relationship. Conflict resolution. Conflicts are inevitable. If you think that there is conflict in your relationship, so your marriage is not good, it is false. It brings maturity out of your life. Because you get to know how to look at the arguments or the way your spouse presents their point of view. And it helps you to think, to answer them. Sometimes you're right, but you don't have to win. You don't have to win. I was listening to somebody on this week. He said, think about it. Do you want to be loved, or do you want to win the argument? Many people want to win the argument, and you lose the relationship. There are so many battles. They say, choose which battles to fight. You don't fight every battle, so that you can win the bigger war. The bigger war is your spouse. You win their love. Now, what about understanding personality? So, my wife was saying something. What is it?
You said you need to talk about that. Expand.
Yeah, Pastor, you said you can't win every battle. That's right. But there are some times when you're right. Right is right. You can't fight it. You can't just leave it like, let me let her off. Yeah. Because I'm right. It's right. I can't just keep quiet. And she knows sometimes. That's your right.
We'll talk together later. So, yes. I mean, in this life, you have been right on many occasions, but you didn't have to win. You know that. It doesn't change you. It makes you stronger. Yeah. Understanding personality and habits. One of the things that a lot of people don't realize is that your spouse is not you. They're not going to be like you. The person who counseled my wife and myself, they said that opposites attract. And there is so much in that. Opposites attract in science, positive and negative. You never know until you are married. That is when you realize how different you all are. And so you go to bed early, and she likes to go to bed late, or vice versa. Is that right? You know that. It's just one of them. Or you like to eat light in the evenings, your spouse like to eat heavy in the evening. Now, there are many things. You will notice that you are very different as you come together. But God made it that way. It helps you to see other points of view. It gives you a challenge also. Life is a challenge. And the more you're able to deal with the challenges, the better you become. But if you want a challenge-free relationship, you might as well not marry. It will be boring, thank you. Or you might as well not marry at all. Life comes with challenges. Your strength is knowing how to deal with the challenges. That is why Dr. Gottman in America, one of the finest marriage researchers in the world, he studied people. He said the difference between good or marriage, successful marriages and unsuccessful marriages is the fact that successful marriages, they get conflict just like unsuccessful ones, but they know the two have learned the skill of dealing with the challenges. Learning how to confront every challenge that comes into the relationship and deal with it. Just before I move on, I did say opposites attract. And so you married, and then the way you do things in your home is different from the way your spouse, how they do things in their home. For example, after you had your meal, your parents always told you, do the dishes straight away. So you do the dishes. You eat, it's automatic. And then you marry this person. They also grew up in a home where if you eat, don't do the dishes now. Because after eating, sit down and relax. Don't do any work. You do the dishes the following day. That is how they have lived until you met them. Now you want to change them. Now, one of the worst things in relationship is you want to change your spouse. It can give you a lot of stress and headache. It's about learning how your spouse is. Because he came from a culture, I'm talking about the home culture they came from. And your home culture. There will be things that are strength in your home culture, and there are things that will be strength in her home culture. But you learn from all. The thing is, even though that is the case, God brought you together so that you can finesse your lives. And so sometimes it's good to say, Bobby, the way you do your things with regards to this, I think it's better than the way we do it. But you can't force it on them because it is not their nature. But it is good for them to say, I'll come to the middle to learn how you do this because it's much better. And there will be others also where you also haven't got the strength because it wasn't a strength in the family you grew up in. But it is found in your spouse's life. So it's about bringing these things together. So you don't fight over why you are washing the dishes, why, after eating you don't wash the dishes. I've seen people like that. They are always constantly angry because they come home and then they go into the sink and say, she's done it again. You will wind yourself to death because somebody who has grown up that way, you want to change them. You have to change yourself, how you approach that. Anyway, so it's just one of those things. Marriage covenant. It sounds very easy and simple for people to get married, but there are many things in relationship, and I've listed some of them. These are some of the things that, if they are not handled well, they always cause rift in marriages. Financial management. Financial management. We don't have the time. This is a subject on its own. I can just give a little summary. Finance. Again, opposites attract. You marry somebody, you are maybe a saver, you know how to save money. You marry your spouse, they are spenders. They're spenders. And so you can wear yourself with that self-righteousness. She's draining our coffers all the time. And you're always angry. But you have married somebody who is opposite to you. Now, remind me of your name again.
Just spending our money.
No, remind me of your name. Andrew, yes, Andrew. Andrew, I'll come to you. But the thing is, opposites attract. There is wisdom in knowing how to extract the best from the opposite from in terms of your spouse. There are some people who save so much money, they don't know how to spend money. They save so much, they die and leave the money. Because all they talk about is saving, 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 saving. And even when their roof is falling, they still saving. Andrew, let me finish. So, sometimes God gave you a woman who knows how to spend money. Or if you're a woman, God gave you a man who knows how to spend money. It's different ways. Opposites attract. Now, don't ever think that marriage is a field of roses that you just walk through. You have to do something, some work. It brings challenges. So now, you learn how to spend. That is what that woman or man who God gave you has brought into your life, to know how to spend the money. Or you have a woman or a man who, they earn money, they spend all as if there is no tomorrow. And so when there is emergency, there is nothing in the coffers. They're knocking on their friends' doors. So, can you borrow me? What is happening with them? It requires wisdom, isn't it? So this is where the two of you come together, and there is a tension to create equilibrium. Sometimes things will go this way, but sometimes you have to bring it this way. You manage the two of you. Learn, if you are a spender who didn't know how to save at all, you learn from your husband or your wife that saving is crucial for relationships. And when you manage to get the balance right, you're living well for today, but you're also planning for tomorrow. Rather than just living raggedly throughout. I can give you examples of people who, Pastor Michael Ibu. He preached a sermon some years ago. I told him that I'll never forget that sermon. This train driver who, he was always eating, petty cheap food. And he died did the post-mortem, he died of malnutrition. Malnutrition. But this is the story. After they buried him and they went into his, just to find out what he had and so on. He said he has so much, like thousands of Kenyan shillings. And they wondered, he was so rich and he died out of malnutrition because his life was about saving. He wasn't living for today. So sometimes the hard work you're doing, spend as well. You have somebody who God has brought into your life, and you spend wisely whilst planning also for the future.
Some people spend for life. They never change. Once you spend, always spend.
You create a tension so that both of you will work together on that. But I mean, like I said, this can be a complete topic where we will deal with what are the options and how do we deal with a spouse who is only just spending and a spouse who is only just saving. How to work those things out, budgets and this.
From what you're saying, it seems that the couple should have one account, the other account is monitor spending.
That's what I'm saying, that this topic, it needs to be dealt on its own. Yes, I'm aware of that. I've dealt with such topics also before. There are options where you can have, joint accounts. If you are two, why separate yourself? You get it? Where you work together. Of course, that's what I'm saying, there are options which can be given where you have small accounts for each other. But it all has to do with trust and everything. Because if you have a spouse and you are saving monies that you are hiding from your spouse.
No, it's not hiding, it's saving from her.
Hiding and so on.
If you have budgets, if you categorize things, if you say, okay, you're gonna have like £100, you're gonna for each other each month as your own pocket money, and you save separately for holidays, you save separately for something big that you want to do. So you just separate everything. It works that way. And having one account, it works that way. It works much better.
Maybe, with all due respect, maybe Pastor are not living in the real world these days. Our women, most of them these days, we live in a materialistic world these days. Every shoe, whenever they go out, every shoe, I will have that one. 2 minutes they're on Amazon. The other minute they're on whatever. And these markets here are very, very, very good.
But as long as she's spending her pocket money, so she has her budget. She has her budget. So
we don't want to be derailed from what we want to do today. It's a whole topic on itself. So can I go back?
Yamba. Sorry. Again.
Okay. So we have, financial management. Finance is very crucial. I mean, I'm just giving you a summary of what it is. But it's one of those things, if it is not handled well, it causes stress to the relationship. Leisure activities. Again, these are things that sometimes you take for granted. But you may have a spouse who is very outgoing. And you may be somebody who you only like to keep to yourself. God brought these individuals to your lives to help you have a balance. And sometimes it's good for your spouse to help you to mingle and mix with others. And there are times when your life shouldn't always be with friends and going everywhere. You have to learn how to stay at home with your spouse also. So a balance. Workaholics.
Yes, because the man works so many hours, the wife works so many hours, and there is no time for leisure.
Very dangerous. This is why it is good for the two of you to look at things. And when you're doing things together, planning, one of you will be very good at managing finance. And sometimes it is wise to let the one who knows how to manage the finance be the one who leads in doing the finance. Because you know that is not your strength. It's good to own up that, you know, when it comes to this area, I want my spouse to be the one who oversees it. Work with the strength that is within the relationship. And sometimes you can find solutions to some of the things we are talking about. What about sexuality and affection? Again, this is something that can cause a lot of problems. They are all whole topics that can be on them, by themselves. You know, the Apostle Paul says that your body belongs to your spouse, isn't it? Vice versa. And so you are reasonable with each other. But the coming together is very, very important to continue to hold the two of you together. God made it that way. What about in-laws and friends? There are some people who will never accept that their son or their daughter is now married. They're still calling you son. Of course, you're still a son or daughter. But they want to tell you what to do with your spouse. Now, this contravenes what God says. Therefore shall the two leave mother and father and become one. You learn to make mistakes and to grow. You learn to create your own culture so that when your children come, it is a culture that the two of you have developed for them to grow in. Not what mom thinks is right for you, because that can cause confusion. You know, people must be allowed to make mistakes, but they must also be willing to take advice. Both ways. And there are friends who, even when you're married, they want you to still be their special friend, taking your time. You have to put your foot down to say, you know what, I have to be with my husband at this time, or I have to be with my wife at this time. Know when it is enough to be with them. They can throw tantrums, but you have a relationship to uphold. Very important. Relationship roles. You never know until you get married that there are so many things that needs to be done. Cleaning the house, doing the dishes, cooking, ironing, so many things, doing the garden. It is reasonable to see how you can all share this job. It's reasonable. There are times when one is watching TV and the other is busy doing things for the family. It doesn't work. It doesn't work. One of the things we have to bear in mind is that I didn't marry to become a slave, whether a male or a female, but we have to serve one another. Marriage is not supposed to be a punishment for one spouse. And then, when it comes to children and parenting, another crucial area, because you come in with different values of how you were raised, and that can have a strong impact, sometimes confusing the children. So it is very, very important to make sure that you know or you come to an agreement how these children are raised. What about spiritual beliefs? Spiritual beliefs, they play a very significant role. I suppose with this setting, you all have the same belief. So you know that you have to come to church at a particular time. But there are degrees of how you are spiritually oriented. It is always good to be considerate to each other. And this is where if you have somebody of another faith, the struggle can be very, very serious. What about marriage expectations? Sometimes we have so much expectation, we are not able to become real with what is going on in our relationship. I want to be happy, that is why I got married. So you put in a lot of pressure on your spouse, because in a way you're saying that you are not making me happy. I'm married because I want you to make me happy. That is uncalled for pressure. You have to contribute to the happiness in the marriage by making yourself happy. Well, like I said, these are summaries. So we experience marital stress when we fail to nurture some of these significant areas in our relationship. We have to be intentional about those things. Communication, very, very crucial. Without proper communication skills, many relationships die or they go stale. In communication, we say that you are communicating even if you are not talking. So if you're not talking, you're saying that I'm not happy in this relationship. Or you're sending a particular message. So we learn communication skills. Very, very important. In a survey of 551 families, this writer, Doris Curran, found that communicating and listening was chosen as the number one trait found in healthy families. Do you communicate sufficiently enough to keep a relationship going? Very important. And again, this is an area where you have to be intentional to say that we don't have enough communication in our relationship. And sometimes you have to learn some skills. Even if it takes you going for counseling, they can help you with some skills. Very important. And nothing wrong with going to counseling. It only helps you. Like I said, this is from Uganda. I had some friends years ago. I canvassed with somebody from Uganda and showed me some pictures. Uganda, when we talk about flamboyant weddings, no camping beats Uganda. Flamboyant. A lot of money spent, and it's beautiful. The limousines and all kind of cars and attire. Yes, that looks beautiful, isn't it? But that is not what the whole marriage should be. Communication leads to intimacy, because intimacy was the reason why you chose each other. And there are many who sadly are not experiencing intimacy, and yet they are married. This is unfortunate. But good communication always enhances intimacy. It brings you together. It gels the relationship. So communication effectively it starts with good listening. Do you always want to be the one who is telling your spouse what is right and what is wrong? And sometimes a lot of argument happens because we want to tell instead of listening. Again, this is an area where we can talk. Now, listening is very crucial in relationship. If my spouse comes from work and comes with an angry face, my role is to ask, what's going on? I work from her, but I'll say, I can see that you're not happy. And I have to allow her to tell me. Now, if she says, one of the colleagues I work with did this, or my line manager did this, and so I don't begin finding answers. I shouldn't begin finding answers. I have to hear her. If she wants answers, I expect her to ask me, give me a solution. Don't find solution for your spouse because she started talking something that for you it is not logical. It is not about you. It's about her.
She told me so that I give her No. Just listen.
Andrew, what's your wife's name? Fiona. Andrew and Fiona, I'll see you afterwards.
Amen.
We have to make an appointment. But let me, in just this brief summary, let me just give this hint to you. If you change the way you approach what your spouse is telling you by listening, you see a huge difference in the relationship. Don't give solution until they ask you, give me a solution. Because it is their problem they are bringing. Until they ask you, don't give the answer.
You need to think for a
Who told you this? Okay. All right. So there are some common problems with listening, and Andrew, I want you to listen carefully. One of them is saying that we are listening when we are doing something else. Well, usually it's the women who do that. Sometimes. But the men also do that. They're watching television. So I'm listening. Or football, yes. And then secondly, finishing another statement. I'm saying the thing, I haven't finished, then you continue. I say, no. This is, so let the person speak. Don't be in there, don't hurry them up. Let them speak. It is their issue they are bringing, and it is for the relationship.
Sometimes some have a lot of words. They're going here, but they have to go around, so you have to reach there.
Listen, maybe they won't, because you're not giving time to them, they are seeking attention, taking all the time. Now, I want to rush through this. And then, number 3, thinking about our response while the others are speaking. When you're thinking, what solution am I going to give them? You will never hear what their main issue is. So don't think about providing a solution. Don't put that pressure on yourself. Just listen. If you don't have a solution, just say, this is hard. I have no solution.
That's that. I'm sorry, with my wife. You listen. After this, when you don't say something, can't you hear me?
I'll
keep quiet. No, that's a problem. When I listen, it becomes a problem. When I talk, it becomes a problem. No, what do they want? This is what happens, Pastor.
Okay. One of them is also giving your response to what they said, sometimes even before they are finished speaking. You don't need to do those things. Listening is a learned skill. Some people have learned how to listen. And if it is not your strength, learn to do that. One of the things, when you go to learn counseling, they spend a lot of time teaching you how to listen. And you have to role play it several times until you get to the point where you know how to listen. And so when you begin talking, I don't have any agenda in my mind. I just have to listen to everything you want to say. And I don't need to formulate an answer. Afterwards, we can sit and say, how do we find a solution to this? Then I'm working with you. Do you get it? So, verbal, but I shared a few in the morning. Communication, the vast majority has to do with body language. And so how your facial expressions, eye contact, gestures and everything can give a message. It's not just the words you speak. And we've been made, God made us in a way that I can identify if you're telling me the truth or you're lying with the words you speak and your body language. Some people can play it really well, but generally it means you're not congruent, you're not being genuine. So listen verbally, listen, allow others to express themselves, then rephrase. This is good listening. So when the person says something, because you want to understand them, you say, is that what you meant? A lot of the time, many of us, we say things that the words are given a different meaning by the listener. So if I want to understand what you're saying, I have to say it for you to hear. Well, you said when you went to work today, your manager insulted you. Then I have to leave it for you to say, oh no, that's not what I meant. I said the way she spoke was not nice, and that caused me stress. I don't have to force meaning on what they said. I have to get the meaning from them. So I rephrase it to make sure that I've understood what they are saying. Are you with me? So this is what I heard you say, and you have to say, yeah, that is what I meant. If that's not what I meant, then I give you the opportunity again to explain it to me. Good listening. It helps relationships first class. That say, but this is what you said. Yes, maybe that's what she said, but that's not what she meant. So there are other things. As listening actively conveys empathy. It tells a person that I'm with you. I can see what you're going through. And if you have to feel sorry for them, being in their shoes, it helps you to do that. And they will appreciate you more. It helps communication in the relationship. It's both ways. I'm not saying that this is only men who have to listen to women. Women must listen to men too, because they also have problems and they encounter challenges. And sometimes you listen, don't give solutions to them too. I know some women who give solutions to their husbands. And maybe that's not what the men are thinking. So instead of, there are other scenarios that causes us to be angry. Instead of, you always leave the family room in a mess. You never clean up. You say that you are very accusatory. But we can say it better. Sometimes it's good to say how you are feeling, rather than saying, you make me angry. You get it? When I say you make me angry, straight away you want to defend yourself. But if I say, I feel angry when I come home and I see the mess all around the place.
Tell you to clean it up.
I feel angry. But it's good to express your feelings, to say, this is how I'm feeling. Don't say, you make me feel. But just say, I feel this way when these things are not done this way. And do you know, the psychology of it is that even if they don't respond, they'll go back and see that you are not accusing them. You're talking about how you are feeling when things are like this in the house. From the beginning we said, God did not intend divorce for anyone. So divorce is contrary to God's original purpose in creating marriage. Divorce occurred as part of the human fallen experience. What God has put together, let no one separate. God don't want us to separate. And sometimes it's some of the things we have discussed. They are the reason why many relationships break down. When there is good communication, there is joy in a relationship. You see, when you are not communicating well, things are not going, you turn your head on the other side, nobody is happy. And sometimes you won't even sleep because the other partner is not. But it's good to be laughing and giggling because there's a good communication. So, Andrew, do you say that's what you want? Okay, marriages can be destroyed. God does not want us to destroy it, but it can be destroyed based on our own actions. And if we're not paying attention to it. Marriage rests on principles of love, loyalty, exclusiveness. I think I've shared this already. The marriage is exclusive to the two of you. No third person. The moment you begin giving attention to a third person, you are destroying the marriage. You destroy the marriage. God doesn't repeat this for you. Love, loyalty, trust, and support upheld by both partners in obedience to God. When these principles are violated, the marriage is endangered. God has grace for you, even if you have gone the wrong way. But you have to know that there are consequences. You have to experience pain as a result of not doing a strong work. Divine grace is the only remedy for the brokenness of divorce. Divorce is more debilitating than death. Brian Craig, he used to be our division family life director in Australia. He said it is more debilitating than death. God provides comfort for those who have been wounded. If you have been wounded through divorce, God can still rescue you if you turn your attention to Him. It's not the end of your life. But we don't want to get into those situations. Marriage is truly meant to last for a lifetime. For marriage to last a lifetime, it will require nurturing, good communication, conflict resolution, and so on. So keep it sweet. Thank you.
Amen. Amen.